Welcome to the Warrior Word, the first and final word on Warrenton High School athletics. The Warrior Word is brought to you by Warrenton Kia and heard exclusively on 106.3 The Beach.
Welcome to the Warrior Word on 106.3 The Beach. It's brought to you each week by Warrenton Kia, and it's a weekly chat show here with Robert Hopeful, the Warrenton High School Athletic Director, on all things Warrior sports, as we're getting closer and closer to the end of the fall sports season at Warrenton High School. We have the football team to talk about today, and also the end of the volleyball season, and get those results, and also a little bit more cross-country to add here towards the end of the show. But we'll start the show here, Robert, by talking about the football team, as we usually do here during the fall season. It's been a really rough year for them. Now they're at 0-8 on the season, still trying to get that first win here with their final game coming up on Friday. But a rough night this past Friday at Clatskanie, another league opponent. The final score was 53-0. So, again, the offense having some problems getting on the scoreboard. So why don't we just get your thoughts on that Clatskanie game?
First and foremost, some breaking news. We will not be playing our game this Friday with Rainier. Unfortunately, we've suffered quite a few injuries over the past couple weeks. We're in a situation where a lot of our older kids have suffered either a concussion or some other kind of injury. And just from a safety standpoint, we had to cancel the game this Friday with Rainier, unfortunately. Never something you like to do, but obviously player safety has to come first. And we made a decision as an administration between myself and our principal and our head coach that it just wasn't in the best interest of the kids to play that game on Friday. So unfortunately, our football season has wrapped up as of this past Monday with the JV game. You know, and as you know, that was mentioned in that opening statement by Sean, it was a tough season. 0-8 is obviously, I guess, 0-9 now. When you take into consideration the forfeit from Friday is not what you want as far as, wins and losses, but it was a season that we knew coming in was going to be a challenge. We graduated 13 seniors the year before. A lot of those guys were big factors and parts of the team over the past years before that. We played a non-league schedule that had some games that I think were winnable, but also some really tough teams. When you think of Blanchett Catholic, when you think of some of those other big tough teams that we played, and the bottom line is that we didn't get any wins, and that's fine because I feel like we got better. We did use a lot of young players this year, which bodes well for the future. We had a lot of freshmen who got significant minutes. We had a sophomore quarterback. And it's a building process. There's a lot of challenges ahead for our football program, but I don't think they're unattainable or unreachable. It's just a matter of putting in the work, putting into the effort, and hopefully next year we take a step in that right direction. We're not that far removed from a 6-2 season, so it does sting a little bit, and obviously it's tough to go from 6-2 to what we did last year to what we did this year. It's now it's time to go the other way. The good news is when you go 0-8 or 0-9, you can only get better the next year. You cannot get worse. And I think we went through that a few years ago in girls basketball. We won 2 games, and last year, I like to say we quadrupled our wins and had 8. And, that's the good news. When you start in a tough situation, you have yourself, a really cool opportunity as a coach, as a program to build something from scratch. I like to often say to coaches, when you're taking over a program that's not very good, it's much more rewarding when you can build that success because you had to start that tradition and that expectation from nothing. It's one thing to take over a program like Jesuit or Sheldon that win all the time, but when you're taking over a program that's like that, that there's a challenge and it's going to be fun. And when our football program turns it around, which I believe they will, it's going to be that much better and taste that much better in our mouths. So, yeah, unfortunately, that football season has wrapped up. Those boys athletes will be transitioning into the winter sports season in wrestling and basketball, as well as a couple kids co-oping with Seaside for swimming. But, we do have some of our boy athletes still competing in cross country. Their districts is tomorrow, Thursday at Catlin Gable. It's actually at a park near Catlin Gable. But big meet, and hopefully we'll have some people qualify for state. I think Luke Linwall's got a good shot, which we'll talk about later. To wrap up the football season, it was a challenge. I think we had a young coaching staff, a new coaching staff who worked really hard and did a lot of good things. I thought they built our strength and conditioning program up a lot, and I thought our guys got a lot stronger. I think we showed moments on film and in live that were things that we can build off, that were positive, and we just have to continue to work and continue to get a little bit better each season. And the good news is we'll have some off-season time to lift and to get stronger. When once you get into summer, some passing league opportunities and stuff like that to build the program. So by the time we come back next fall and we start our season off with Napa at Napa, we got a chance to be competitive with those schools and have a better year. Our football schedule for next year is in place. The commitments we had with the teams we played this year was a 2-year agreements. So we'll play the same teams as we played this year next year, just in flipped locations. So we played Napa at home this year. We'll be at Napa next year. We'll be at Vernonia. We'll be home with Neoconi, I think, so the third week. At Nestucca, home with Corbett, and then at Blanchett Catholic in the non-league. With that said, we'll be coming back for the next segment of the Warrior Word, talking quite a bit at length about the volleyball season. Unfortunately, they did suffer a district playoff defeat this past Monday with a state berth on the line versus Portland Christian. But it was a situation that I could not be more proud of our volleyball girls. They faced a lot of adversity this year. They did a lot of really, really good things, and we'll spend the next segment talking about that and maybe even transition a little into the third with it. Thanks for joining us this week on the Warrior Word. We'll be back with more Warriors Athletics.
The Warrior Word is brought to you each week by Warrenton Kia, and also thanks to these additional sponsors of the Warrior Word: South Jetty Dining Room and Bar in Hammond and Seaside Factory Outlets. We'll take this time out on the Warrior Word and come back and talk some more Warriors fall sports on 106.3 The Beach. And welcome back to the Warrior Word on 106.3 The Beach, brought to you each week by Warrenton Kia. And we're talking to Robert Hopeful, the Warrenton High School Athletic Director, on all things Warriors fall sports. And we just got some news there in the first segment that the football team season is actually over a week early. So they will be 0-9 on the season and just looking to build towards next season, as Robert was discussing. Some experience coming back here for next year. So we'll see how things roll in the 2017 season. But we still have the volleyball team to cover and also the cross-country team. Robert has a couple of his student athletes in the studio with us to talk about volleyball and cross-country. But first, Greg from Warrenton Kia is in the studio here to tell us all about the 2016 Kia Soul and also give us the latest student athlete of the week.
Thanks, Sean. And as you know, the 2016 Kia Soul was awarded the J.D. Power Award for the highest-ranked compact multi-purpose vehicle in initial quality for the second year in a row. So head on down to Warrenton Kia. Whether it's a new Kia or a top-quality pre-owned vehicle, Kia's Car Corners have you covered. And this week's Student Athlete of the Week is Leah Durham.
All right.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's an exciting prep athlete of the week for me. Leah's a girl who may not have got to play as much as some of our other volleyball players, but is just the ultimate teammate, the ultimate team player, the ultimate we over me kid. Our volleyball team went through a lot of turmoil this year. We had some people not pleased with playing time. We had some issues. Otherwise, we had some drama. We had all kinds of things that we battled through to have a very, very successful season. And, Leah was a kid who was always doing the right thing. And I think that speaks volumes about who she is as a person. Just extremely, extremely lucky to have a kid like that in our volleyball program. I know that Coach Hackworth has nothing but positive things to say about Leah and the kind of kid she is and the kind of effort she puts in each and every day to volleyball. And, when speaking with him and trying to determine who our prep athlete of the week would be this week, he was excited to give it to her, and I am as well. It's really nice to acknowledge somebody who may not be able to show up, maybe doesn't show up in the papers with the stats, but her teammates and her coaches know how valuable her attitude and her effort and who she is to the team. So once again, congratulations to Leah Durham. Definitely deserving of the Prep Athlete of the Week. With that said, we're going to talk a little volleyball in this segment. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, our volleyball season came to an end this previous Monday at Portland Christian in a second-round district playoff game in which we battled. We had a heck of a performance. We had to win a game that previous Thursday, that previous Thursday at Catlin Gable to even be playing in the game Monday. We were able to win that game against Catlin Gable 3-1. We fell to Portland Christian 3-1. I got Claire Bussard in the booth today to talk a little bit about those games. First and foremost, I want to say congratulations to our volleyball team. As I just mentioned, they went through a lot of ups and downs this season. They graduated some real talent in Allie Bentley, Libby Beal, and the other seniors from last year, and they were able to bounce back and essentially get to the exact same spot we got last year. And really be in a situation where, from everything that I hear from about the game on Monday, we were, really probably 3 points from probably winning that game, even though it was 3-1. We'll talk about that. With that said, we did have to win on Thursday first, Claire. Tell me a little bit about that game on Thursday versus Catlin Gable. It was a grudge match. We had beat them in a tournament. They beat us in league play. That's why the game was at Catlin Gable and not at home. Really, what was the key to us being able to pick up that first district playoff win on Thursday versus Catlin Gable?
I think going into that game, we just had a lot of momentum because we wanted to show them that it was a fluke, that we lost to them, and that how we played in the tournament is how we really are as a team. And we just really wanted to keep going and keep playing. So it was all momentum.
Yeah, we looked at that game, and I thought it was definitely, like Claire said, a game that we wanted and we thought we could win, and we were fortunate enough to be able to go down then and get a win. It's always tough to travel to any of the Portland private schools to play. They have good student sections, good community support from the families and other people that are graduates of those schools. So it's always tough to go down there and win. To be able to win a playoff-style game in that situation was very exciting for our girls program. I know it makes them, excited to be able to win a district playoff game. And it allowed us to play a huge game this past Monday, obviously at Portland Christian, where we came up a little bit short. We'll talk about a couple details from that game. We started that game, first game, kind of, I think, got a little bit just shocked. 25-10 in that first set. They came out and they kind of jumped right on us. They're pretty talented. And they have three girls that are quite good. They have a great pass, a great setter, a couple good hitters, and kind of really jumped on us. But that second game, we were able to bounce right back. And beat it right back to Adam, 25-16, able to tie it up at 1, and then we kind of had all the momentum. We go up 22-12 in the third game, and then unfortunately are unable to put that one away. So let's just start there, Claire. What changed late in that third game? It seemed like we were kind of on a path to take a 2-1 lead, and then kind of fell apart there to grab that lead.
Well, we were playing really good in the third game, and that was definitely our best game of the match. But we went on a long run of points, and then we messed up once, and we just fell apart. Like, we made like 2 mistakes in a row, and then we just couldn't get it back.
Yeah, and that's what it sounded like from everything I heard. It's tough. When you got that kind of lead, you're up over over almost 10 points, and in a situation where you just need 3 to take a 2-1 lead, and unfortunately I think PC ended that game on a 12-0 run to take it. And as Claire mentioned, sometimes that's just what happens. We won that second game, after getting beat pretty good the first game, and we had all the momentum. We won 22 out of 34 points against them. Things are looking awesome. We're feeling really, really good, and then unfortunately we come up a little bit short there at the end to close it out and put ourselves in a situation where instead of being up 2-1 with all the momentum, now we're down 2-1. Giving up all the momentum, and obviously PC was able to capitalize on that, winning the fourth game. What do you think the kind of general mood was after losing that third game, and why weren't you guys able to bounce back in the fourth and send it to a fifth game?
Well, after the third game, a lot of us were just kind of shocked that that happened, and then we kind of just closed up and we weren't really excited anymore, because we knew that we should have won that because we only needed 3 points. So we just kind of stopped getting excited and didn't have any momentum because all of ours went to them.
Yeah, and exactly like I said, that unfortunately they were able to take that fourth game from us. It's a pretty similar situation to what actually happened last year at OES in the same game to go to state, except for we actually kind of bounced back in that fifth game and had a similar situation where we came up just a smidge short of the state playoffs. As has been mentioned numerous times on the show, our volleyball team has been our most consistent program over the last few years. They've been really a hair from the state playoffs the last 2 years. I'm extremely proud of the effort of the girls. We're going to come back and talk a little more volleyball in our final segment on the Warrior Word. Thanks for joining us.
This is the Warrior Word, brought to you each week by Warrenton Kia. And thanks to our additional participating sponsors, South Jetty Dining Room and Bar in Hammond and Seaside Factory Outlets. We'll take another time out here in the Warrior Word and come back and talk some more volleyball and cross country on 106.3 The Beach. And welcome back to the Warrior Word on 106.3 The Beach, brought to you by Warrenton Kia each week. And we're talking to Robert Hopeful, the Warrenton High School Athletic Director, about the Warriors' fall sports schedule, and still have a little bit more volleyball here to cover. And then eventually we'll get into the cross-country schedule as well. Sounds like they're wrapping up their season 2 here pretty soon, right, Robert?
Yeah, cross country hopefully is not wrapping up their season this week. Hopefully we'll have some kids qualify for the state meet, but they do have their district meet tomorrow. We got a couple kids, especially Luke Lillenwall, that I think has a pretty good chance of qualifying for state. I think the top 10 in the district qualify, and I think he's right on that kind of bubble. So we'll see if he can kind of have a great meet. As a senior, I hope that he's able to PR and get a time, put him in the state tournament. I think that's definitely our best shot, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had some other kids really push themselves and be right kind of on that bubble as well. On the girls' side, I think Kaisa Lillenwall could surprise some people and find her way into the state tournament as well. Alan Martinez has been close in a couple meets time-wise to where he needs to be. There's some guys there that have a shot and some girls as well, and so hopefully we'll be telling you next week on the Warrior Word about some state qualifiers. Either way, we'll be definitely giving you the results of that district meet tomorrow, next week on the Warrior Word, and wrapping up the cross-country season, at least for some of our athletes. Krista, you guys do have that meet tomorrow. Krista Morrill is with us in the booth again this week for cross-country. Just kind of give me what the mood of practice has been this week and how you feel heading into what could be the final race for some of you guys tomorrow.
This week really has been a tapering week. We're not pushing ourselves too hard. Just trying to do a little bit of running just to keep our legs moving, but we don't want to injure ourselves before districts because that's the worst possible thing you could do. And I think one person on our team has already done something that may have injured themselves enough that they can't run tomorrow. But mostly we're just trying to focus on districts only and not the fact that our season is ending really soon. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all you can do. You can try to avoid it till it's there. And, like I said, we'll definitely have Krista in the booth next week to talk about the results from the district meet, and hopefully talking a little bit about some state qualifiers. With that said, we are going to wrap up kind of our volleyball train of thought from the last segment. Like I've said, it's been definitely our most consistent sport over the last few years. I've been very proud of the effort that our volleyball programs put out the last couple of years that I've been here as the athletic director. I thought that Coach Hackworth did a fantastic job this year stepping in for Coach Ginny Smith. I feel like, it's a program that has some talent coming back. We do have 4 returning varsity players next year in Claire Bussert, Michelle Arney, Morgan Blodgett, and Leah Durham. All those kids are going to have an expanded role on the team, whatever it may be. Michelle, Morgan, and Claire had pretty big roles this year. Those roles are going to be more important next year as we lose those 4 seniors in Landry, Asia, Sierra, and Katie Blodgett. Kind of a final thought on that volleyball season. We will be playing a similar schedule next year, probably going to the same 3 tournaments that we went this year in the Seaside, Vernonia, and our own tournament that we host kind of there at the beginning of the year. It's an exciting schedule. We try to get in some tournaments where we get to play some bigger teams and some smaller teams to kind of get a good, breadth of experience from the non-league schedule. So hopefully next year we can continue on that success and we can finally get over that district playoff bubble that we've been in the last 2 years and play some state playoff volleyball. With that said, as crazy as it sounds, almost all of our fall athletes are now transitioning into the winter season. Practices on the 14th of November is when basketball, wrestling, and swimming begin. We will be transitioning, and we do fortunately have pretty good turnout for both all those sports from what it looks like. Our non-league schedule this year in basketball, especially on the girls' side, is pretty aggressive. On the boys' side, they have some exciting games. Both programs will be playing Waldport to start off the season on December 2nd. At home. That following day, the girls program heads to Junction City, and the boys will play Waco at home. Other games that both programs have in the non-league, or we both play St. Paul again, which is a program we played against last year that both teams had a pretty good contest with. We have Jefferson again, which was another team that we played last year and had some pretty good contests with. The boys will be playing Gaston. The girls will be playing Scappoose. And there's some other games in there as well. Neocani, Nestucca. We're also playing Napa as we do in every sport. So, we have an exciting non-league schedule. So I'm looking forward to the basketball season. Obviously, I coach basketball, so I always get pretty excited about when it's coming up. And it's going to be a fun year. I think it's going to be a fun year where we're much more experienced on both the boys and girls side of things. Our wrestling program did lose some huge talent from last year. Obviously, we had a state champion last year in Colton Walker, who's definitely going to be missed. He went undefeated in the wrestling last year, and that's going to be a tough void to fix. But I think our numbers are going to be good this year. We got some new young wrestlers that are very excited to work for Coach Corey Conant. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun in the mats, in the gym in the winter. And definitely stay tuned to the Warrior Word over the next couple months as we transition and start talking about the winter season of Warrior Sports. With that said, don't forget that cross country does have their district meet tomorrow. I'll be checking on athletic.net for those results. Thanks for joining us this week on the Warrior Word.
That will do it for the Warrior Word, brought to you by Warrenton Kia and these supporting sponsors, South Jetty Dining Room and Bar in Hammond and Seaside Factory Outlet. This show is also now available on our YouTube podcast archive. You'll find it at Ohana Media Coaches Shows on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe while you're there. So, for Greg from Warrenton Kia and Robert, the Warrenton High School Athletic Director, I'm Sean O'Connor saying you stay classy, Warrenton, and we'll meet you back here next Wednesday on the Warrior Word on 106.3 The Beach.
This has been the Warrior Word, the first and last word on Warrenton High School athletics. Brought to you by Warrenton Kia. Tune in Wednesdays at 6 p.m. for the Warrior Word, heard exclusively on 106.3 The Beach.